could it be? For me, your man, Louie T, here with Candi Waller of Bowie TV for CWall Wednesdays here on the Louie T Network. Big shout out to Bowie TV and Candi Waller for coming on the show as many Wednesdays as she can to help us make sense of this 2025 season for the Washington Commanders. I'm wearing the Chubbies NFL polo right now. This stream is going to be sponsored. One of the sponsors of this stream tonight will be Chubbies. And Chubbies is the sponsor of Victory Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. Whenever this team plays, they play all over the map this year. I thought I would have more chances to wear this in October. I thought I was going to wear it after the Bears game. Didn't happen. Thought I was going to have another shot, after the Dallas game. That didn't happen. So I'm having to randomly wear it on a Wednesday now because I don't know the next time I'm going to get to wear my Victory Chubbies polo. But big shout out to Chubbies for sponsoring this stream. Go over to chubbyshorts.com. Use the promo code LouieT. These are the most comfortable polos that I've worn in life. This material is awesome. I'm a big proponent of dry fit material. This is dry fit material. It feels so good on my skin, and you will love their lineup, whether it's shorts, polos, shirts, you name it, they've got it. Head over to chubbyshorts.com and use the promo code LouieT. So, Candi, how did we get here, Candi? Why are we having this discussion, Candi? Why are we having this discussion? How did this team get to 3-5 at the midpoint of the season? And they find themselves staring Seattle in the face off of a bye at 5-2, one of the better teams in the NFC, and Detroit right after them. It feels like this season is over if they don't win this game because no one thinks they're beating Detroit. And now with Terry McLaurin injured, Laremy Tunsil more likely or not playing this weekend, things have gone from bad to worse. At least they'll get Jaden back, but it'll be like the Dallas game all over again if Deebo Samuel can't step up. How did we get here, Candi?
One of the things that I said during preseason, that it was a hard truth. Mm-hmm. I think it was after, once the preseason was over, right? I think it was New England. Help me out. I don't even know. New England, Cincinnati, and then the Baltimore Ravens. And I made a comment that wasn't taken too great, not by you, but I mean, you were fine with it. But I mean, others was kind of like, wow, Candi's not often negative. And I didn't think I was being negative when I said it. Right. But it was, geez, I hope no one gets hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. I hope no one gets hurt.
That was a bit of foreshadowing that we did not anticipate would come into focus this much.
Right. Exactly right. But I meant it. Like, I could see it. Mm-hmm. I could see what the drop off would be if certain individuals got hurt.
Yeah.
Because that was just something that this staff, this team, therefore all parties involved didn't have to deal with last year. It was essentially it was only Jonathan Allen at this point.
That's right.
In the season. This is how they were 6-2, because when health is on your side, mm-hmm. great things can happen. And one of my concerns right after the preseason, okay, we watched this whole thing. If depth is a concern, well, then where do you look in terms of, well, why is this a concern? Mm-hmm. Right? So it became if the draft class from the previous year couldn't step up, if you didn't see all that you would hope to see in just the 5 draft picks from this year, it was like, oh no, what's going to happen? And I think that's a large part of where things are. And unfortunately, I also think that, I know they're the hunters, but at some point you have to understand you're now being hunted because of the success you had.
Yeah.
You are now seen as a threat. So you might just be the team that people get up for.
Candi
And
ain't letting that go. Candi, like, look, Candi ain't letting that go.
I'm not letting it go.
I love it. I love it.
You know, and it becomes I'm not letting it go because I want to see the proactivity. Like you should have been ready for the work. Literally. You should have been ready, that they were going to be ready for you. And that they were going to have a plan. And it just seems like they thought it was going to be rinse and repeat, and it's not that.
Yeah. It's actually been amazing to watch this season disintegrate right before our very eyes. I mean, I am shocked that we're here because it's amazing. You know, the NFL it's such a fantastic sport because much like college football, I think college football, this is even more so, but every game matters in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like Major League Baseball, hey, you play 162 of them things, man. We'll get them tomorrow, right? Basketball, play 82 games. Hey, you got a back-to-back. You play tomorrow night. Just, you know, flush that one. We'll get them tomorrow, right? Baseball, it's a 3-game series. We'll get them again tomorrow. We see them 2 more times. It might be a 4-game set. We might see them 3 more times. We'll get them next time, right? In the NFL, the difference between, like, think about just how different we would feel about this season if this team were 4-4 instead of 3-5. Like the difference between that Chicago game where Jaden fumbles that football and where we are now feels light years apart. Like 3-5 feels like we're 2 and we might as well be 2-6 right now. We might as well be 1-7. That 3-5 feels so bad and it feels so like gloom and doom and despair. And you're literally 1 game away from being 500 right now and not having this feeling of, oh man, the season feels like it's a catastrophe. But that is the fine line you walk in the NFL. And this team, the margin for error, like you just mentioned, this roster was flawed to begin with. But again, they're in year 2 of a recalibration. There was only so much that was going to be done, right? Because they had to try to fix a lot of the things that hadn't been done with the last regime, all the mistakes that they made. So it was going to be, you know, this slow build, but Jaden fast-tracked everything with his play last year. And it put the expectations maybe higher than they should have been. But if you stay healthy, I would have loved to have seen what it looked like. We never got that chance. But even so, there were certain guys, and this is the real conversation I want to have with you before we get to the Kansas City game itself. There were certain guys that we came into the season feeling like we should be able to count on these guys. These are core players that, if nothing else, we know these guys are going to play high-level football and give us a chance to win on a weekly basis. Push the injuries aside for a second. Guys that have been healthy, guys that this regime has told us are big-time players for them, guys that we've watched who we assumed were going to be really good players. You start looking at that list of guys, and some of them are draft picks. Your Brandon Coleman's of the world. This guy started 19 games last year. He just was active for the first time since week 3 this week. And it almost like they foreshadowed what was to come because Laramie Tunsil magically gets hurt, hadn't missed a snap all season. He gets hurt, and now you need Brandon Coleman. It's a good thing that he was up. But Coleman's been a disappointment this year. You said it. Me and you talked behind the scenes, and you said everybody's talking about Marshawn Lattimore quiet as kept. Mikey could be worse. Statistically, he has been worse than Marshawn Lattimore this season, right? That's a guy we thought, hey, if Jaden is the nucleus and the foundation building block on offense, Mikey from that same draft is that on defense. He has been anything but this season. Frankie Louvu was a guy that we just thought all-pro linebacker, guy that he might get 10 sacks this year, right? You know, just all over the field, a Tasmanian devil. he's been absent, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I could keep going with the guys that we thought were going to take that next step, or at least just continue on the wave that they had last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I ask you, and I want you to speak to this, or again, as I like to go in my candy bag, pull on that thread of what happened to the guys that we were supposed to be able to lean on this season.
You know, everything you're saying is spot on, because, and it's something that we're all trying to figure out, like everyone. And it was during the Dallas game that I said out loud, I said, if I feel like this, I have no idea what Dan Quinn is thinking right now. Because if I'm this shocked, if the fan base is this shocked, now, because it's like, hey, listen, it shouldn't look this bad at all. And I'm not saying they would be undefeated if there weren't injuries. I'm not saying, you know what I mean? It's like that balance of, I still think you're not doing this as well as you could be doing it, right? And it starts with some of the guys who were such household names last year, had excellent camps, that I'm like, okay, now you're making me look like I don't know what I'm talking about, because now this, okay, now you playing, because it's like, what is this? It's a lot of what is this going on, and that's where things are off. You know, it's almost a challenge where you see some of the new guys performing at the standard, and you don't see some of the ones returning doing that. And as you know, and perhaps others, I've asked about some of the players that, you know, I've asked about Mikey, I've asked about Frankie. You know, you get those answers, you know, week 3, week 4. Okay. I've even asked about, hey, you know, is there any consideration to put Mikey, you know, back to where he was, you know, because I'm not trying to say it out loud in case it's like, oh, competitive event, you know, but it's not everybody outside. But even still, it's like, it's noticeable, right? I'm asking this question because it's noticeable. Did he go back to where he was? You know, now we got to figure this thing out, because it doesn't look like, you know, they needed to come out of October at the least 2-2 for it not to feel and look like the sky, the bottom is falling out. Right. Because even with the injuries, Chicago shouldn't have you should won that game.
You should have won that game. Absolutely.
And Dallas, it should not have looked that bad at all.
Right.
At all. And even this past week, I'm not saying that they should beat the Kansas City Chiefs, because that was not something that it was on my bingo card for them to win that football game. But what I am saying is, there's still just some things that aren't being done despite the injury. So let me give you like an example of that. If your most healthy group on offense are the running backs, and you would be comfortable with any one of them being number one, then okay, then running back by committee, right? Because that's what you said this is, run the football more, right? That's just offensively. But then it's like, Terry's out, Debo's out, Zach Ertz is amazing, but you gotta catch footballs. You gotta catch some of these footballs, right? Brandon Coleman is inactive for a slew of games, comes back, like you said, thank goodness he was active,
right?
And then I moved on from that tweet, and then, okay, that's good, but it becomes now who is the leader? Now who are the next men up? Because you don't really know. And you're starting to see maybe a little bit of that now, since the questions have been asked and you want to, you know, see the speed and things like that on defense. But there's still some questions about some of the returning players that we just don't see. It's just the spark, the fire, it's just not there. Now you see some of it in like a Jeremy Reeves. You see his speed, you see his energy, and you saw them as a collective get up. We've seen Duran collect, but he's dealing with a toe injury, but you've seen that. And some of it you just haven't seen.
Right.
And some of it was about how they were being played. Again, my analogy of the hunted. Yeah. But it's still like I can watch the game and I know and I'm like, what is that? Like what it's I expect more.
Yeah.
And it's not because I think they're all world champions. It's just that I've seen a different level of attention to detail and overall energy and focus that I just don't see consistently.
Yeah.
This season. And it's not real clear why it's that way.
Yeah, the inconsistency has been the one constant this year. They haven't been consistent in any facet other than special teams.
Right. That's
right?
it. But then there's been some muffed returns. And so,
I mean, we had one on Monday night, right? With the kickoff.
Because those things are mood or momentum shifters,
right?
And it's bizarre when it's like I haven't, what happened to anywhere, anybody, anytime? Where's that? What happened to the ball is life? What happened to all the things that were just staples of who you are?
Right.
That you're not really saying anymore.
You don't say those things anymore.
Nobody's saying anything. So I'm like, well, are we doing the pregame chants? Are we doing that? Because I haven't seen the social team post any of them. I'm just on Monday night, I saw something before the game that I hadn't seen, and that was when the defense was getting on the field. They were hyped. Mm-hmm. I hadn't seen them do that. Right. I hadn't. And I was like, okay, all right.
And you saw it.
Let's watch this.
And you saw it early in that game. They were flying around.
Right. But then it became why haven't you been doing this the whole entire time? I don't, what changed? Did you was it like a too cool for school? Like, it's all right. I ain't gonna do all that.
You know what I think it was, honestly? Mm-hmm. I think it was DQ getting involved with that defense. Because
what happened last week?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I mean, 1,000%. Yes. And I think some of that also, I mean, you and I talk offline, so you kind of you're getting to know me, and likewise, and so how I do things and how I get down. Yep. So even when I'm in, of course, keep it professional all the time. If I have to ask, have you considered?
Mm-hmm. And you brought it up. You said, hey, I mean, like you did it as again. You said it as you did it as I'm trying to search for the perfect word. There was such couth with the way you asked him that question. Like, have you considered potentially, having something to do with the play calling on defense or, the usage of players, that sort of thing? And he had to actually
think about it.
Think about I'm probably gonna have to dive in there and see what's going on because I don't know if Joe's gonna be able to do this by himself. And we forget Joe. This is Joe's second year as a play caller.
It's still new. It's new.
It's still relatively new for him. And he's so used to things going one way, right? Anytime you guys ask him about turnovers, what is the first thing that he does? What is his first default? He goes back to his Green Bay days, right? Oh, when I had this corner, or when I had that corner, we put him over here and we did this and we were able to produce. That's not what you don't have those guys here. Okay. No. You don't have an all-pro corner here. You don't have guys you don't have Sam Shields and all the guys you had in Green Bay that were taking the football away. So you got to figure out how do you don't have Julius Peppers on that defensive line. Like you don't have with those Packers teams that you were a defensive backs coach for had, right? You don't have a Michael Parsons here when you were in Dallas and you were creating you don't have Deron Bland who, if nothing else, he'll attack the football. If he won't do nothing else, you say, Deron, if they throw a slant, jump it. He's going to jump it and pick it off. You don't have that guy here. So you got to figure out how to take the pieces that you do have and maximize them. One of the things I thought was a simple, easy fix was take Marshawn Lattimore, who's been a press corner his entire life.
Oh, God. Let me be quiet.
Put him in front of the receiver and say, you play press coverage and whatever happens, happens. What we do already know is he's not good in off coverage, whether
Nope.
it's zone, press and bail, doesn't matter. He's not good off.
Nope.
He gets his first pick of the season in what?
Press.
Press coverage. Like, it's not rocket science. And these are the things that are just tough for me to understand. You know, we sat here, we talked 2 weeks ago, and I said, just put Frankie. I said, put Frankie down on the defensive line. And you said, the crazy part is Frankie's been working with the D linemen all summer.
I said it. He's over there with the defensive ends. Maybe I should have said that, but
with the D ends all summer. What? So why did it take till Dan Quinn to come in the room and say we need to get Jordan McGee on the field? Why did that have to happen? That just doesn't make sense to me.
It didn't. I mean, we came on there 2 weeks ago. It was like, well, they get ready to play a team that does 3 linebacker sets, so you can have Jordan on the field. We talked. See, a lot of this. I'm going to go back even further, not to bring up old stuff, but I say I pull receipts.
That's right.
These conversations should have happened after Atlanta in week 4.
Yes, because that was the worst defensive performance up until that point.
Those conversations now, when I asked about the play calling, I was actually talking about everything because I'm like, something isn't adding up. Somebody, they're just doing things that I'm like, well, what? You know, you did it, and it's like, okay, well, why you stop doing that? It was working. But after week 4, when you're looking at September versus October football, October versus November, you need to do that deep dig after week 4. Because that Atlanta Falcons game was pretty ugly.
Yeah, it was bad. We talked right after that game, heading into that Chargers game. Absolutely.
I thought that was the day. I saw Kane Medrano was active. I said, this is it. This is going to be his moment, his coming out party. You all are going to meet Kane Medrano because they're going to have him tracking Bijan. I went down deep into a deep hole after that to see how they played those guys in December. And that's not what happened. Understanding it's a different season, but is it really? That was in December, and they still got the same offensive weapons. You can make something happen. Understanding Jeremy Chin isn't here. Understanding Will Harris is hurt. Yeah, I got it, but sometimes it becomes I am not at all the smartest person in the room. This is why I ask the questions I ask, and I try to follow up and understand and confirm. Because I told you, we can tell your audience, right? I told you offline. There are 4 people I'm going to be asking about and tracking. I don't mind saying it now. I told you it's Tyler Owens, it's Jordan McGee, it's Kane Medrano, and it's Ale Cahill. I said I'll be back with what I find, and I told you we talked about it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna hold off on this because I want to see it. So it took all of this and get embarrassed in Dallas. It took all of this to get
all of that. Injuries.
That's what it was. You really got embarrassed in Dallas. That's what happened. And now you got to see the speed. Well, you had some hitters over there. Now they don't get everything right because they did.
That's right.
They don't get everything right.
Right.
Okay. But they're fast.
And that comes with the territory. They got to get more reps.
They get more reps. Now you see Tyler. Now you can look at the snap counts and see just how much they were on the field. On Monday.
My gosh! I mean, Jordan McGee 58 snaps. Like,
and Tyler was like the second most, I think, in defensive snap. Tyler Owens was
up there.
He was started. He was up there. So that's what I'm saying. But those conversations, in my opinion, why to take the week 7 should have happened in week 4. Right? Because you got to learn at some point. You got to get them out there at some point. Unfortunately, mistakes are going to happen. Every snap is not going to be perfect. I mean, hey, Patrick Mahomes, they got 2 takeaway. You know, they got 2 turnovers. They still ain't not winning a football game. But that's my point is things are going to happen. Right? But you just got to give it a shot. And, you know, last week, that's when I asked, what's your assessment of the linebackers? Because now I'm like, I already know. I just want to see if it gets said out loud so that I can, you know, feel like I'm a genius or feel like I'm smart because I am smart. This was somebody told me. You are smart, Andy. Well, thank you. But yes, I think they've played well. You know, Bobby and Oos, you'll see more of Jordan. Jordan's going to get his snap count up. Okay. And you will see Kane. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. You know, I mean, what are you here for?
Yeah, I want to see Kane. I want to I think
Kane because he's fast, and I saw him do some incredible things in training camp.
Yeah,
And I get it if things aren't going to look right, if he's going to make mistakes, but so are the veterans.
That's right. Well, they're already making mistakes. And at this, like, I get it. Where you are right now, you're not at the point where you're waving the white flag. So you're not going to just do things for the sake of doing them. I get it. But like a guy like Tyler Owens serves a purpose. Like they could have used him against Kyle Pitts. You don't think they could have used him? You don't think they could have used him against Kyle Pitts? You know what I mean? You don't think they could have used him in a game where we've seen athletic tight ends have their way against us? Yeah. I thought he did a really good job against Kelsey in man-to-man coverage. It was when he got into the zone coverages, and you know we gave. I mean, if it wasn't Jacob Martin getting pressured, nobody did.
Nobody did.
And so Mahomes was back there for 5-6 seconds at a time. I mean, who's covering for that long? You know what I mean? So of course things are going to break down. Of course, guys are going to be open and things are going to happen if you're giving Mahomes that long to survey the field. But I actually thought, you know, McGee did some really good things. He's a rookie. I mean, he's a second-year guy. He's essentially, for all intents and purposes, a rookie. He really didn't play last year. He's going to make mistakes, right? Yeah. Same thing with Tyler Owens. But this is why they need to be out there, because they're not going to get better on the side, right? They're not going to get better as the scout team players. They need to be out there.
And understanding if there were some mistakes made early on in the season, there was some Monday night. Because, you know, coach was kind of blunt about one to John Combs' question, right? About was something miscommunication. He was like, nope.
He wasn't letting that go. Nope.
He
wasn't a communication thing.
I said, okay, he's getting a little tired.
Yeah.
But it's I guess I'm just a person that's like, whatever is working, do that until they stop it. And then adjust. I'm also a proactively, like on Monday night, I 3 offensive series of not scoring. I will be very transparent with you all, as I always try to be when I can be. And I said, oh, they're going to lose. They're about to lose this game. I'll tell you why. Because there's no way you have a chance in winning this football game if you cannot score. I was impressed by the defense. I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed. Those 30 minutes, I was like, whoa. And when you get the defense, listen, the two of the Commanders that have been dragged by this fan base are the two that get you the football back. Oh, you better run the scoreboard up now, because Marshawn and Bobby Wagner, I've been be like, it's not them. It's not them, you all. It's not. But you know, nobody really wants to listen to that. Because even after Monday night, even after how Marshawn played, it was one of his strongest games as he's been a Commander, right? Somebody still came back and asked me when he was getting released. And I'm like, are you
Yeah. Look,
put him
they're not going to allow one performance to erase the fact that he's struggled for most of the year. And you know what? It's so Marshawn if next week he gives up 187 yards to Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? Because it seems like it's been like every other week he's been good, you know?
Yeah, and that was vintage Marshawn right there, though. That was a vintage. That's him. But like you said it, that's what he's done his entire career when you put him in press.
Yeah, again, it's not rocket science.
It isn't. And so it becomes a, you know, and guess what? Like we said, when you don't hear his name anymore, guess what Patrick Mahomes did? I got you. Now they ain't gonna throw it over there. Wherever you are.
He didn't. He just worked the middle of the field the rest of the game, basically.
Okay, let's figure this out. When there wasn't any pressure, which there hardly was any at all in the second half, now I'm gonna just work the middle of the field. The running back and everybody else, the running back, the tight end, the wide receiver, go to the same spot in the middle of the field. Go ahead and go to work. But he wasn't throwing it Marshawn's way anymore. That's what I'm saying. And it's just like, I've been, even behind the scenes, I've been like, I don't understand this. I don't understand that. I asked about, wanting to know, okay, when people talk about Quan, right? And Mikey. Those are the two that I'm like, how are Marshawn and Bobby getting all this smoke?
Yeah.
Quan Martin and Bobby Mikey Sanders.
They dragging Quan too. Quan is not absolved.
So, well, okay.
They are
Okay.
killing him.
Listen, and even you know this, and I hope your audience knows this too. When I talk in critical, I think the world of all of these individuals and these folks, but it becomes when you're watching the game, it's even I the other day I said I don't know what Dan Quinn is thinking, because I'm like, what is, they don't look like they even did in the summer, and I'm not certain why. It's like, why?
Oh well, Candy, we have to go. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I was screaming this from the mountaintops all summer.
Mm-hmm.
The defense looked great in the summer because they were playing against the group that was out there against Dallas.
Good. It wasn't.
You know
good.
what I mean?
It
was no Terry, it was no Noah, it was just Debo and the Bandits out there.
That was my fear. I've been afraid of it. And I'm also tell you another thing that was my fear that's starting to come to fruition. And I hate to say this, but it's true. I think I've said it on your show before. I said, they made it through last year for two reasons: Jesus and Jaden.
Yep.
And Jesus is always with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
He's always there. Even when it don't feel like it.
Is it?
But Jaden ain't been there all year this year.
And then even today because when I saw him, because I had an inkling, okay, like Jaden's in Kansas City, right? Yep. When he came through there, I said, and that was one of the things, it's like the little things that I said, I understand why you don't have players travel. I understand all that. But some of that hype on the sidelines, some of that energy, you need that. You need that, right? Where it makes sense, right? Where you can travel. You need that energy. You need that presence. It's like, go back and rinse and repeat the things that got you all ready for the moment, right? Got you feeling good, feeling like you could beat anybody. I'm just not seeing that. And whenever there's a situation where the opposing team says, "Oh, we're going to receive first," defense they just melt down. They just don't even know what to do with themselves when that happens. Yeah. So it's just, it's frustrating to watch, because I don't want to look crazy. And then if the call played aren't the same, then that makes it even worse.
So in that Kansas City game, you talked about when you knew it was over. I'm right there with you. So my keys to the game, I do keys to the game every week: 4 on defense, 4 on offense. And the first key to victory was we could not turn the ball over. Right? We were not. They're already light years better than us. You are not in a position to give it away, and you give it away on the first possession. And that, to me, was Cliff's best, because that was his opening salvo, right? That's the scripted first 15 that you put together, and we had them on skates. He was throwing it quick this way. He was throwing it quick that way. It was a run over this way. It was Mariota keeper to this side, Mariota keeper that way. And we had them all over the place. They had no idea, and we were going tempo, and they couldn't even catch their breath. And then Debo has one. And I said, your best players have to look like your best players, right? Yeah. Your Zach Ertz's, your Debo Samuels, your Marcus Mariotas, your, Bill, if you consider him one of the better players. Like, these are the guys, but the veterans in particular, Mariota, Ertz, Debo, they got to step up. We got to be able to lean on them. And I thought Mariota played his ass off. Like, you couldn't ask much more of him on Monday night. I thought he gave us a chance to win, just like he did in Atlanta. He left some things on the field in Atlanta. He had the bad interception in Atlanta, but he played his ass off in Atlanta. I thought he did it again against Kansas City.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the rest of the guys around him didn't do their jobs. And I would extend that to Cliff. And it's that sequence where you get the turnover after Bobby Wagner picks it off, and you go RPO to John Bates, and you get this big 24-yard game. You get on the ball, tempo, and you go up, and Marcus keeps zone read, and he gets 8, runs out of bounds. And I'm thinking, okay, run the ball, right? But okay, it's 2nd and 2. This is an advantageous down, because really, what are we talking about here? You got 2 downs to get 2 yards. If you go play action fake and take a shot on 2nd and 2, you can do whatever you want to do on 2nd and 2, right? they throw a little bubble to Debo. I hate it, right? Like it's 2nd and 2. Try something down the field. They sniff it out. No game. Nope. 3rd and 2. Okay, run the ball. Now you got to run the ball because, like, let's go ahead and get this. Let's stop playing and get this first down, right? He's got to run the ball here. No, we're gonna throw it. We're gonna throw it in front of the sticks again to a guy that doesn't get yak in Zach Ertz. Great job. Whose idea was that? He gets tackled for a 1-yard gain. Okay, what are we doing here? Okay, 4th and 1. They're definitely gonna run it now, right? Like, there's no way they're not gonna run it on 4th and 1, right? Then you throw it 40 yards down the field to no one. Make sense of this for me, please, Candi.
Yeah, I think that we're all trying to make sense of that as well. I mean, I think I'm trying to make sense of the fact that the run, they're not sticking with the run. Anyway, right? When you're just not sticking with it, right, at all. Right? This is probably your most healthy position group on offense. Use them consistently. Right? Get those yards, control the time of possession. That's a way to do that, right? But when you're talking short yardage, just run the football. Just run the football. J-Mac, C-Rod, Bill, in whichever order you like, just run it and control the time of possession. I want to go back to the play with the Debo turnover, which Debo was so irate. He was so disappointed in himself. When I went back and watched the TV version, you all didn't see any of that. And then Laramie got hurt. So we were trying to navigate through where's Laramie going and all of that. And he was super disappointed. But you know what? That's happened in other games. The opposing team just doesn't end up with the football.
Right.
It's happened before with it bouncing off of his hand or bouncing off of his face shield. It's absolutely that's probably like the 3rd or 4th time that's happened.
I told fans when we got him, he's gonna drop the football every now and again. Concentration drops. He did that in San Francisco.
Yeah, it happens. It's happened 3 or 4 times so far this season. It was just this time you had to.
It was costly, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was the perfect bounce. Like, if you want a play that encapsulates our season.
It was that one.
That's the play right there.
It's between it that one. Even though Debo was irate, he was very disappointed in that. Probably the Jalen Lane muffed return, where it was like, I guess, maybe the ball was gonna go to the end zone. You could just take a knee, but it went to the 1-yard line. No, they can't that. And then the Quan Martin unnecessary
roughness. Yeah. The defenseless receiver.
When you could have just gotten off the field because that was 3rd down, and here you go. Yeah. And so it's almost like it's a comedy of errors. When you go back to this game, also, this was a half of no penalties, a penalty-free half.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, you go into the half. In a perfect world, ideally, that score could have been 21-7.
That's right.
It could have been 21-7, and now you have to deal with a potentially rattled Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
Because now he's got to come from behind on the Washington Commanders. And he's probably, with Marcus Mariota start, he's probably losing it on the inside, right? But a rattled Patrick Mahomes, you can control more of him. Not saying you still would have won the football game, but you got a better shot.
You would have been playing from a position of power, right?
Exactly. You would have controlled the game from a mental perspective and then a physical perspective, because now Marshawn is in his bag. You got, everybody else, Bobby, everybody else is feeling some type of way, but you can't, but now they lean on the offense. This team leans on the offense. Their strong suit, where they beefed up probably more than they have on the defense, it's the offense. It's them, because they putting all the pieces around Jaden, just keep an eye on, right? And so they're getting the ball back to you, and it's almost like you almost got to react as a play caller. You almost got to react with, oh yeah, now we got to do it. It's almost it's an emotional, for me, it was an emotional intelligence thing. Just do what you got to do to score touchdowns. I already knew what type of time they were going to be on. Okay, they probably signed this guy from off the street. All he's going to do is kick, or not field goals. All he's going to do is kick extra points.
Extra points, yeah, and kickoffs.
This is a touchdown game. This is a touchdown game. Mm-hmm. Get the ball, control the time of possession, score touchdowns. All you need is extra points. And they just couldn't deliver. And it's so difficult for this team to play complementary football, that is another thing that is just like baffling, because it's all you did for the most part last year.
And it's like the game of telephone, right? Yeah. Where you tell a message to somebody, and by the time it gets to the end person, it's a totally different message. Mm-hmm. There's always some lost in translation, and with us, so every game, it feels like it's the same story. Luke gets a big kickoff to start the game off, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get this thing out to the 45, the 46, something like that, right? Luke, every game. That's like clockwork.
Yep.
Depth taxes and Luke getting a big return to start the game, right?
Yep.
So you're going to get great field position. Mm-hmm. And what does the offense do? Right? Normally the offense goes like 3 and out. Like they do nothing with it.
Yep.
This time they moved it down the field. Looked like they were poised to score, right? And then you get the Debo, malfunction, and the ball bounces to Mike Dana and they pick it off, and you're just like, are you kidding me right now? We had a conversation, and I think this is when it really hit me, like just how bad and good the first half was, right? We were talking and we literally said, both of us in some way, shape, or form said, that's the best half of football this team has played.
Best half. Literally.
And we had nothing to show for it. It's a tied game at 7. And that's the best half of football we've played this season. That's a shame.
It was really
you wasted the best half of football. That's the most intensity we've seen this team play with, the most urgency we've seen them play with. It's the most defensive tenacity we've seen them play with, right? They created turnovers, as you just mentioned. They had no penalties in the first half of this game. Sans for the turnovers, obviously, because I count turnover on downs. I count fourth downs as a turnover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know that's not specifically and technically a stat, but
it's a turnover.
It's a turnover to me. And you don't get it on fourth down. That's as good as fumbling the ball right where you are.
Right. You might well fumble it. Right, for sure.
So to not come away with any points on those first 3 drives when you had Kansas City on the ropes.
You had them on the ropes. They definitely did. We were there. I was in the building. Yeah, you might have been watching from home, but trust me, the crowd was silent. You know how loud Arrowhead Stadium can be? Oh my God. When I was in there, I was like, I don't know what's about to happen. But once I saw the defense, once they did come out and they were jumping around and doing all this, I said, okay.
Did that give you vibes from last year? Did that feel like?
Because I haven't seen them do that. I have not seen them do that at all. I mean, they're going to get hype a little bit. You might see special teams do it, but the defense, no. You know what I mean? Like, no. But they did it. And I was like, well, look at this. And how about Jacob Martin? Like, for real. Like, I was like, okay, look at this. Yeah. Look at this guy, Patrick Mahomes, out there running for his life a little bit. You got him out there. I mean, you got him on the ropes. Y'all got him on the rope. It was quiet in Arrowhead. When Marshawn got that pick, you could hear a pin drop. I mean, shout out to the Commanders fans that did come, but the stadium is such that you couldn't hear him. It wasn't like a lot. Yeah. But you could hear nothing. Except for the team hollering and screaming when he did that.
You saw DQ run on. You say you watched the TV copy. Did you see DQ?
Yeah.
He was hyped because he felt for Marshawn, because he knew Marshawn was literally a punching bag, right?
Yes.
And he could feel it, not just from the fans, the media every week asking him, do you feel like teams are targeting certain players? Like, they wouldn't use his name, but he knew who they were talking about.
Yeah.
And DQ kept trying to tell everyone, like, hey, Marshawn hasn't been as bad as y'all think. We're working on certain things. He's got to turn and find the football. But because 90% of the time, Marshawn's actually not in bad coverage. Like, he's in phase. He just don't never look for the ball.
That's all. That's it.
You know what I mean?
And then you just do it. And so it That could have changed. That could have changed the whole. So if it's me, if I'm Cliff, I'm getting my runners. We running this football. We're gonna control the time of possession because that was in response to getting the ball back after the first turnover, I believe. I don't know because it all ran together in the first half.
After they got the Marshawn turnover, which was the first interception.
Yes, right.
They went down, and that was the Zach Ertz.
That was the Zach
fourth
Ertz.
down.
Now that was a joke. Well, I'm not gonna get fined for saying anything. That was a joke because I was just like, okay, now all this technology, and we got to do this,
right? And I still think it was a bad spot.
I do too.
I still think it was a bad spot. And it took them forever to get that measurement when they could have just had the chain gang could have did that in a minute and 30 seconds faster.
Because this is crazy. Like, is the internet working in here? That's what I made a comment.
Like, what is going? It definitely felt like their Wi-Fi was running slow or something. Because it took them forever to tell us we were 5 inches short.
Please
get out of here with that, man.
It was just like it was and look, it wasn't Marshawn Lattimore gets a pick. Hey, listen, y'all, you gotta score when you get that ball back.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a tip off of Travis Kelce, if Wagner ends up with the football,
you gotta get some points, man. You gotta score.
You gotta score a touchdown.
Look.
And it was just bizarre. And I think that's been the word of the season. Like, this is bizarre. Like, what is it? And it becomes now here's what's going to be, and what I'm looking to see. I know we're not jumping to Sunday night yet, but it's like, is this going to be your get right game? Or y'all going to do role reversal? Right? In terms of, now the defense gonna go right back to do what they do.
I mean, until they show us any consistency, you gotta assume the defense is just going.
Or is this one gonna be a good get right game? Because please don't do this on Art Monk night. Don't do this on Art Monk night. And so it's just,
you got the championship threads on. You got the whole crew coming back for Arthur Monk's number retirement.
It's like, not to be superstitious or whatever, but let's just be real. Whatever your vibe was, if it was the chants, if it was the jumping around, if it was the lights, if it was having Jaden on the sideline, I mean, even though he, it's supposed to, maybe he'll play, then
he playing.
Just do all of that. Just go down the list. Just do all of that, because you can't get too cool for school now, because now all the lights are on. Now everybody's watching you, and it's like it's been weird because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's like, where I thought the fire and the juice would transcend and come over from LA, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. And it's almost like, it's just like, hey, listen, I think the hard reality is Jaden, he got the juice. And when he got the juice, everybody else got the juice. Everybody else has the juice. When Jaden is like, no, we're going for the fourth down. Go for the fourth down. And if you don't get it, he will. Like, it's just, exactly. And that's what I was hoping wasn't the case, because you can't depend on one person. The one person can't carry even the play calling. Let's just keep that a buck too. So, like, you got to all lock in. I asked a question a few weeks ago about the collaborative decision making in game, and Coach Quinn was kind of like, well, it depends on, you see a different look, or you see somebody, how you play somebody. And I'm like, nah, you got this is what you do to that person right there. Making it more simple. Right. I'm like, well, how are y'all calling plays? What was the name of the play? Like, remember last year it was just like fun names. It was just like stuff that it was an idea, like something you reminded somebody of. Okay. And that was play call. Everybody got it. They knew exactly what it was because it was based on an inside joke. And you played it. I don't know. It's the mad scientist versus common sense balance, where in a lot of this, just use your common sense.
Yeah, it's been so frustrating watching this season unfold the way that it has with all of the injuries. Feels like to a lesser degree the coaching has regressed. And it's a confluence of things. You put it all together and you have a team that's underachieving massively. But again, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But you just want to see some level of consistency from this team, because from week to week, you really don't know. Like, what has happened to the run game? Like, there were things that we could rely on earlier in the season, like with the run defense. You can point to the injuries and say, well, you don't have Dorrance anymore, and you don't have, and even after Dietrich got hurt, you still were able to keep the run defense relatively solid, but you don't have Dietrich anymore. You don't have Dorrance. Now you don't actually have a real edge setting defensive end. So you're kind of right back to where you were last year when the teams were able to run on you and get to the edge and all of that stuff. Yeah, but the interior has been pretty solid this year. And so you feel like, okay, they'll figure it out. Jalen Holmes, they'll put him at defensive end. He can be stout, or like they did early in the game, they had Johnny at defensive end. Right? They'll figure it out and they'll put guys in there and they'll make it, shake. But what happened to the run game? Like the line is still intact, but basically now Laramie's hurt. But even before he got hurt, we weren't running the football super effectively anyway. No. Like, what has happened to the run game? I am so shocked that this run game that was the number 1 rush offense 3 weeks ago, and it's been the number 2 rush offense the last 2 weeks, can't run the football. This was the worst game running the football. And, yes, Cliff needs to run it more. And he didn't run it nearly enough in this game. And that's a criticism. But when they did run it, Marcus Mariota can't be your leading rusher.
No. That defeats the whole purpose of doing what you've done for the running back room.
Yeah.
Like, this is why you have the running backs that you have. I mean, for real. Like, that was the whole point. To stop the quarterback from being your leading rusher. Your rusher, like, it just shouldn't be the case. And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I couldn't figure it out in Dallas. I could not figure it out in Dallas. And I just couldn't figure it out Monday. I was, one of you talked about the keys to the game. And I think it was been a few weeks that I said, it might have been when Jaden was at one of the games where Jaden wasn't injured. He got hurt in Green Bay, so maybe it was between Green Bay and Dallas, and well, he wasn't playing on Monday, but where I said, run the football by everybody not named Jaden Daniels. Because, I mean, and I know it's hard for him not to, because that's just who he is.
Right.
Okay, then that's a choice. All right, fine. But I'm talking about in terms of the actual play call, it needs to be run base, run heavy. I guarantee you, if it was Bill Belichick or somebody, guess what? He would run the ball 60 times on you. If he knew that the opposing team's defense was weak in that area and this was my healthiest group,
right,
I'm going to run them. And that just is what it is.
This just is what it is.
I don't know if it's just the creativity or feeling like someone's going to anticipate, oh, we got all these running backs, they're going to think we're running the football. Well, yeah, and you should. And it's going to be interesting to see how this, because defensively, I saw the response.
Yes.
To the deep digging that Dan Quinn was doing, the deep digging, the conversations, the talking, all of those things. I think the world of Dan Quinn. I don't know why I waited till week 7, but because I would have jumped in there week 4. After week 4, I'd be like, hey, what's going on in here? Let's watch these games and see what happened.
Right.
But week 7, nonetheless, but it also makes me feel like it was one of those things where it's like, okay, we're going to get this together. Everybody's just going to remember who we are. And sometimes you don't want to be a micromanager, but you kind of have to be.
Right. Sometimes you got to do that.
Sometimes you have to do that when it's like, hey, this isn't look, and so you see, you saw the defense respond, not for 60 minutes, but see, I'm also one that doesn't know if as constructed across the board if they have 60 minutes. That's my other, but that's a comment. Right. I said a strong 45. That's what I said. I said a strong 25, and it's probably like 40 in 10, 5 extra minutes. But but
that's why you need the offense to shorten the game,
yes,
right?
that's what I'm telling you. 5.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, number 5, jersey number 5. It was him.
Yeah.
It was him. It is him. And so now it becomes all right, the defense responded to this digging in. The offense did not. Did everybody have the same conversation? Because when I asked my question, I really literally meant it generally. Because I saw some things in that Dallas game and I was like, this isn't even making sense. Again, I'm not saying they could have walked away with a win, but what I'm saying is make it make sense based on where you're strong.
Yep.
Where your strong suits are. Make them work for it. And in that game, Dallas wasn't even good at run defense at all. They were down near the bottom of the league with their run defense. You ain't gonna run it on them. I would run all day.
Chicago, same thing.
Oh yeah, Chicago's accent out all day. You gonna get this groundwork, buddy, because you're not good at it. And I believe that this team is. That's what I would do. And then it was really unfortunate, especially with Terry getting re-injured. Terry McLaurin, he did some good. That's Terry McLaurin, everybody. Terry McLaurin, ladies and gentlemen. And you lose like that. So your defense gets 2 takeaways by 2 players that everybody knows it's just getting dragged out here. Right or wrong or indifferent. That's what it is. And Terry McLaurin makes some dynamite catches. Luke had a good one too now. Luke had a great one too, staying in bounds. And you have those moments, but you have to use that as momentum. You have to, the ball is like, you got to use that and you got to hold on to it. And it's just, I don't know what it is. But across the board, no one is consistent. Special teams. Well, special teams coverage, because like with the muffed return, I can't. I can give it to Luke. I can't give it to Jalen just yet.
Yeah. He had his fair share of struggles on Monday night, catching a football in a multitude of ways.
And he had a key drive.
He just had a rough night. So he's another guy that people have been a little harsh on, but again, I get it. I understand people's frustration, but he's also a rookie and a guy that they didn't necessarily draft in his rookie season to be a key contributor as a receiver. Not saying that he wasn't ever going to be in the game, but if everything was the way that they envisioned it, if it was an ideal situation, you wouldn't be seeing Jalen Lane on the field a ton.
Right, it's ideal. That's right. If you got the 3 you thought were going to be on the field, and Terry, Debo, and Noah Brown.
Yeah. And then Luke would have been the next guy off the bench. And right. And you wouldn't have been seeing a ton of Jalen Lane, but this is the state of our team, right? So we'll take a quick break, get a word from one of our sponsors, come back on the other side, and then we're going to talk about the Week 9 matchup. And, there was a press conference today. We got some news that I was dreading. I already knew what it was going to be. I was hoping to be wrong, but I wasn't. And so we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about this Seattle Seahawks team that's coming in here and what the Commanders can try to do to get a win that they desperately need. We'll see you on the other side of this promo. Sleeper is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all of your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat in the games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, blazing fast news and alerts right at your fingertips. Play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports the way they were meant to, together. Download the #1 sports app today. Predict the hottest football stats like passing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy football skills. Use promo code LTN and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Sleeper. All right, so we are back and we are transitioning now to the upcoming game against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. It is the first of 3 times the Commanders will wear their championship era jerseys. They are honoring Art Monk, putting his number in immortality, as no one else will be able to wear the number 81. They are retiring that number. They should have probably done this a long time ago. And it's going to be a really, really, I think, emotionally charged night. First time they've been home in 2 weeks. This is the first Sunday night game of the season. Obviously, Art Monk night, everything, the jerseys, the nostalgia. There's going to be a lot of buzz surrounding this team going into that game. But the 3-game losing streak is really at the forefront of all of this. And you got a red hot Seattle Seahawks team coming off of a bye. They're fresh, looking to extend their record to 6-2. Sam Darnold has been spectacular this year. Jackson Smith-Njigba, you could argue, has been the best receiver in football this season. At one point, he was on pace for over 1,900 yards, which would set a new NFL record for a single season in receiving yards. They can run the football. They're so disciplined defensively. Mike McDonald does a tremendous job with that defense. This is not the week to feel like you're going to be able to run the football effectively. They stop the run as good as anyone in the league. And he blitzes. He's one of these smart defensive minds that can confuse you. It feels like a game that is set up for the Commanders to struggle. It really feels like they do all of the things that have given this team problems. They're fast on defense. They fly around. They're getting some of their better players back. Julian Love, who's been hurt for most of the year, should be back in this game. Same could be said for Devon Witherspoon. He's been out most of the season. He's supposed to be back this week. So they've got so many guys on the defensive side of the football. And then you look at all the things that they pose on the offensive side. Talked about Jackson Smith-Njigba. You know, K9 can run the football. He's got an explosive dynamic speed. And then they've got a tight end, a young tight end that they drafted out of the U, Arroyo, who's been playing really well. And I think they got 2 really good tight ends that can exploit this defense. This is not a really good matchup. And to make matters worse, Mike McDonald and the Seahawks are undefeated on the road this year, and they don't lose on the road. If you look at his record going back to last year, they're better on the road with him than they are at home. There's a level of focus that they travel with, that they play with, that makes them that much more dangerous on the road than they are at home. And so it feels like the odds are stacked against the Commanders going into this game. And then, Candi, you add to that no Terry McLaurin. He's been ruled out. DQ has told us he re-aggravated the quad injury. We knew that he did during the telecast. We saw him on the sidelines, and you could see it. You could read his body language. You could read his face. He knew he had re-aggravated it. And the question was the severity of it. We don't know. But this feels like the first time he injured it. Like, they're not going to put him on IR because they don't want to risk him being ready to come back, because they realize how important he is. So they don't want to put him on IR and then he could play after 3 weeks, right? But this feels like he's going to be on this, week-to-week thing, but he's not going to play this week. I probably won't play again next week. And then if you get to that Miami game, you might as well let him sit out and get to the bye week and come back after the bye. So that's what it kind of feels like, is we probably won't see Terry again until after the bye week. And I felt so bad for DQ. I feel so bad for Terry, because I saw his media scrum last week, and he talked about never having dealt with an injury before. Like, this was all new to him. You could tell he was excited to get back out there, and you see his impact. Like, he changes the way teams can play us. They went to that aggressive man-to-man defense, and Marcus just threw it up to him, and he went and got it. And there aren't many guys on this team that are capable of doing that. And teams they feel way too comfortable being aggressive, attacking this offense, playing man-to-man coverage, being aggressive, attacking the line of scrimmage, attacking the run game, because what else are you going to do about it, right? Terry gave you the ability to stretch the field vertically, and that loss, you could see it today at the press conference when DQ was like, man, he made some great catches, and that toe tapping catch for the touchdown, the diving one on the side. Like you could tell, like he's like, man, we need this guy. Why did he have to get hurt again? And just how daunting of a task is this one, Candi? And you were there. You asked the question of DQ today, so you were out at the park. What's the vibe? What's the sense? What's the morale? Is the energy back up? DQ said he had a good talk with the team. Are you feeling those vibes, or does it feel like a team that's still searching for answers?
I don't know, a little bit more tomorrow.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because they were there later, and the schedule was a little different. So we definitely saw some of the guys today for sure, and we're able to talk to them today, but they were tired. Now, I definitely talked to a few of more guys on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I could get into specifics of who you want me to, but and I talked to Josh Connolly. I'll say that out loud because I know there were conversations from an offensive line perspective. And I talked to Trey Amos and Amos Game Day Trey. So everybody call him Game Day Trey now because I can have last name right. So I did a Game Day Trey. That's who he is. And I talked to Marshawn.
All right.
And you could see, like from Marshawn, you could see Marshawn is there. That's Marshawn, even today, you know what I mean? From just the swag perspective.
Yeah, so he locked in. He locked in again. Okay.
And so that's what, but yes, today for what I can see. Game Day Trey is gonna so now y'all can call him Game Day Trey too. If you see it, you got it. That's fine. Because I always pronounce his name incorrectly. Even when I say it right, I end up saying it. So Game Day Trey it is. Yeah. And there's another Trey, Traylon Burks, and they sit on the same side. So whenever I come over there and I'm like, hey, Trey, everybody turns around. So I want to say yes to that, but I do want to go back to all the great points you were making. I've harped on this run game so much of them not using it in the last few weeks because this would probably be a game you really wouldn't want to see it. Yeah. And you need healthy receivers for this one. Yeah. For this battle in the back, for this battle out there in the field, you need that. If ever there was a creative Cliff Kingsbury, you would need that this week. Yes. Which was why I was seriously hoping just keep it simple. Like just do what you got to do because that run game ain't going to be as prosperous. Yeah. Potentially against these folks right here. So this will be tough. This will be hard. Now going back to the Commanders defense, but they, like I said, more than likely, this is the number one receiver in the league you're going up against. Yes. Okay. Don't get it twisted. We're not saying put Marshawn. We're not saying that. Okay. You got to do something. Now, Tyler Owens has a nose. Jackson, JSN. What's his nickname? He knows him very well. Tyler does. And so
Tyler Owens does? Mm-hmm. Why? Where did their paths cross?
They grew up together.
Okay. Okay.
They know one another for sure.
Gotcha. All right. That's an interesting tidbit.
This is an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
Use your clues on that one. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens because you might see a bit more Kane this week too. If I'm wrong, then I'm just wrong. But I think.
Well, so you using your clues here. What leads you to believe we might actually get to see Kane defensively this week?
Well, because we didn't really see him last week defensively, and I was told that we would. We'll see him. I knew Jordan's numbers were going to go up and all that, but yep.
Okay. I mean, it's something to look for. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're wrong or not. The bottom line is he's active.
Last week, he better. Yes.
He's active. He's going to be active, right? And so they told us, this is what they told us. Joe Witt Jr. told us last week that eventually we were going to see Kane. So at some point he's going to get out there.
Yes, it should be. My what is what I'm trying to say? My research skills are still pretty high level, and so I get to this point. Like, thank you. Oh, what's your assessment of the linebackers? Let me throw this out there out loud with no mic and see what y'all say. So since he went ahead and gave me that little tidbit, I said, okay. Like, wink. All right.
Yeah.
Last week, this would be the week you would need him.
Yeah.
Speed wise is all I'm saying.
Yeah, they definitely challenge you with speed all over the field, from the running back position, the receivers, and the tight ends.
Yep. I'm looking for something.
And Sam Darnold's not a guy that's looking to get out of the pocket. If they were ever weak to try to do things to confuse the quarterback and, get him to make a mistake, but corral him, like, this feels like, and I'm not saying that Seattle's got the same caliber of offensive line as the Raiders, because they don't. Their line is way better.
Much better, yes.
It's the same kind of passer. Like, Darnold isn't looking to run. You know what I mean?
They're going to protect him because they need him. Jackson and Tyler grew up together in Dallas.
Okay. Got you. I don't know why I thought that JSN was Cali kid. I don't know why I thought that. Okay, so they grew up in Texas together, because I know Tyler Owens went to Texas Tech. So okay, so that's interesting. Maybe he'll be able to share a little insight on JSN and some things that
for a purpose.
Yeah, hopefully that'll work in our favor this week, because he is like that. He is really like that.
You need all the help you can get, because I mean, and perhaps this is a week where Mikey comes back to us. Okay, where he returns, because this is going to have to be an opportunity where his pass as a receiver is going to have to really kick in, if he's played if he's put in a position to be most successful.
Yeah, we got to catch the ball. Like,
I mean,
weeks ago, had a chance to pick. You got to catch it.
This really might need to be well, you're gonna have to do that 2 weeks in a row, because it's gonna have to be a replica of what you did to Detroit in the divisional round.
Yeah,
it's gonna have to be. The next 2 weeks is gonna be brutal.
Yeah.
So, this isn't the time to be questioning yourself. You got to do what you do well, very well.
Yeah.
And the juice has got to be there. The energy's got to be there. Whoever it is, everybody.
The fans are gonna bring the juice. The players gotta accept that juice, and they gotta. It's gonna be interesting this weekend, because even if you were one of those season ticket holders that was like, I'm done, this season's over. If you're of a certain age, you're coming out for Art Month.
You got to come out for Art Month. That's what I was saying. The fans got to be there for Art Month. That's what I said. Don't do this.
This is your last one, though. If you're the Commanders and DQ, I know he's talked about home field advantage and you need the support of the fan. This is your last one, bro. You better use it wisely. This is like your last lifeline.
Yeah,
you better use it.
Yeah, Zach Ertz, made the comment about the clock is ticking. I think, Coach Quinn made a comment to Natalie from Channel 7 when she asked her a question, and he made basically a comment that wasn't even about the clock is ticking. He's kind of like, we're out of time. So to me, when he said that, I would have to look specifically to her question, how he said it at the end. Where's my little use your clues notebook? It's over there somewhere, but in my bag. But I think he basically said we run out of time, which basically means it's because now you all September football, October football, it's November.
Yep.
So if ever you were in a space of trying to figure it out, you better have an answer. You better have an answer, because it's we're not having this conversation if they come out of October. In my opinion, we're not having this conversation in this manner if they come out of October 2-2.
Right. They're 4-4 right now. They would have beat the Bears.
Yeah.
We're not having this conversation.
Right. I mean, they could have beat the Bears or Dallas. Yeah. And everybody is not in the state that they're in right now. Because, preferably the Bears, preferably either one. You're not in this position.
Yeah. You just weren't close to beating Dallas. So that one was like, okay, whatever. The Bears one was there
Bears
for the
back.
taking.
That's
You
right.
should have won that game. That's
And it
the
was at
one that feels
home
like it
where
got
you
away from me.
feel like you're strongest at home, and the mood was set. The crowd was, the fans were remarkable. The team, the organization did a great job for the Conquer the Night theme and all of that.
Yeah.
And so the environment was ready for a victory.
Yeah.
And they didn't deliver.
Oh, and so Kenny, I need you to, this is off the record. You talk to them, but they got to lean in all the way to if they're gonna wear blacks and you're gonna ask the fans to come out. And I know they did not follow directions the way that they should have wearing black that night. Our fans are still trying to figure out this whole idea of being good thing, so they don't know how to act. So, like, I saw Cincinnati have a whiteout, and it literally was all white in the crowd. Like, we don't follow directions yet. However, I need the team to also lean into that. Like, if you're gonna, like, Cincinnati wore all white, had a whiteout, and then they painted the end zone white, and the logo in the middle of the field was white. Like, you have to lean all the way in. You can't have a basic end zone and the basic logo in the middle of the field. You have an alternate logo on your helmet, which is just the yellow W. Put that in the middle of the field. And in the end zone, they did this one time with the salute to service.
I was about to say, that sounds like the same thing they do with. I was just about to say, it's like
they did that one time. We played against the Vikings. I want to say it was 2021, and they colored the end zone black. If I'm not mistaken, it was 21. It could have been 2022. Either way, they need to lean all the way in when they do that. If you're going to wear black, you're going to ask people to wear black, and you're going to do the battle blacks, and you're going to have that as the theme. Go all the way with it, right? But that was a missed opportunity that night for sure, losing to the Chicago Bears. And and you're feeling the ripple effects of that now as we go into this game against Seattle. What do you think is the biggest thing they have to do in this game to win?
Oh, that's a really, really, really good question. And I don't want, because I already know like the reality of the situation is, but the defense is going to have to be disruptive. The defense is going to have to be disruptive, very disruptive. And I'm going to go back to controlling the time of possession. In some cases, what do you got to do to beat the Chiefs? What do you got to do to beat the Seahawks? Keep them off the field.
Right.
You have to get back to winning these time of possession battles and scoring touchdowns, aggressive scoring, being able to convert, play smartly, right? I just feel strongly about that. And then when the Seattle Seahawks offense is on the field, the defense, the defense, hopefully they started something. Hopefully they started something. Now, the second half didn't look like the first half, but hopefully they can build on that first half and really say, now, okay, that's the model. That's where you build from and do that and really get those takeaways, be disruptive to Sam Darnold. They have an impact. They do have an excellent offensive line. So I do want to see a bit more from the defensive line. They're going to have to be. Javon Kinlaw, Deron should be playing. Deron wasn't on the
I think he wasn't on the injury report.
So, that's something. So, it's going to have to look consistently disruptive and confusing because it goes back to the eye discipline thing, which is so interesting to me again, because that wasn't a thing last year. And to my understanding, from my digging deeper into, not like it is this year, and my digging deeper, it shouldn't be. It's not with people. It's not with individuals that are new. Is all I'm saying. So that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't think the eye discipline thing was a big issue last year. When we gave up big plays, like, because we didn't give up a ton of big plays last year. We really didn't.
I'm like, well, where are you looking?
I think you're right about that. Because I was playing it back in my head, like, the defense last year's biggest issue was they couldn't stop the run. right?
Stop
Like
the run.
that was their biggest problem,
right.
is that they couldn't stop the run. The pass defense wasn't terrible. It just like we got by on defense last year, but we didn't give up big plays. If you
Mhm.
got something against this defense, you had to earn it. And if we gave up something big, it was usually on the ground, coincidentally
Yes,
enough.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so I saw them Monday, going back to the speed, the notion of speed. They were getting places faster, but you got Jeremy Reeves getting somewhere, you got Tyler getting somewhere, Jordan was getting somewhere, you got the faster ones getting there quicker. Quick, they're just getting to the spot faster because they're faster.
Right.
Right. And so they're gonna have to do that, and they're gonna have to be disruptive. That's one of the things that I hate to bring up old stuff, right? But they didn't do that with Dak Prescott. They weren't getting to the quarterback. They weren't getting the pressure there. They weren't being disruptive. And in some instances, as simplistic as it might seem, hey, you don't want them to score, you need to keep them off the field.
Yeah.
You have to control the clock and keep them off the field for real. Because Mike Macdonald, we're familiar with Mike Macdonald himself because of the work that he did with the Ravens as their defensive coordinator. Okay, he got his defense play.
They are balling on
coach. He's got the defense playing like he was a defensive coordinator.
That's right,
and that's what's going to have to happen. Now, no shade, no side swiping Dan Quinn, because I think so much of Dan Quinn. But yeah, you got to play like you're a coach with a defensive mind. This is what you do.
Yep.
So this is how your defense has to be disruptive. Whoever you were when you were in Seattle, what you're known for has to show up in this game, if nothing else, because that's one of your former teams, right?
Yeah.
I think, I get how he rolls and how he leads and all those things. You respect people and you give advice or whatever, but this might have to be a little more directive on all sides of the football, because this could get bad. You got to keep hope alive. You got to keep hope.
Yeah.
It is going down.
Yeah.
It's a downhill slope right now. LA seems so far away.
It does. I mean, we were having such a good time in LA. I mean, Jaden and Debo choreographing a touchdown celebration in the huddle. We got National Bill Day after that. He had just won like his second or third Pepsi Rookie of the Week.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were on cloud nine, and we thought, okay, this is the beginning of us getting hot. The Bears are next. We're gonna beat them. Go to 4-2. That's 2 in a row. We haven't won 2 games straight all season. That was just 3 weeks ago.
That was just 3 weeks ago. It feels like it was last season.
It feels like it was last season. Absolutely,
it feels like it was last season. It doesn't exist right now.
Yes.
Like nobody remembers. So it's just like, we just in LA.
Yeah.
Jobs were lit. I mean, I want to go back to, was it you? I mean, we may have talked about it when that Friday practice. It just felt right. I mean, the vibe, it could have just been LA, but it was, you could tell, like, Jaden was just so happy. He was just so happy. I'm like, you could tell he home. Like, I think Debo, somebody said when he got off the plane, he like kissed the ground or kissed the grass or something. he just likes, he loves it. But that's another thing that they talked about last week, where I believe it's public knowledge by now. I think, like, they had meetings, they had conversations, players, right? And a lot of what it was around getting back to the fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, act like y'all having fun.
Yeah. Losing ain't fun. And that's the problem, is like,
losing ain't fun, and it's not at all. You
gotta win. That's the thing that they're missing. They gotta win.
Marcus after Green Bay. Remember, I think I asked well, I know I did. I think it was after Green Bay, though. I asked Marcus, like, you seem like you don't have a hard time dealing with the loss, and he laughed.
Yeah.
Because they be down bad.
Yeah, they do. I remember you asking him that.
Yeah, like, whoa. Like, can I speak to anybody here? Okay, never mind. I don't even want to speak. I'm leaving. Yeah. So it's like, good great. But you gotta, when you get the opportunity to do the thing that you love, act like you love it. Yeah. Right. And just get after it. And so I don't know, but it could be dark. A dark cloud.
Yeah.
It's got to come down to it's got to look convincing. It's not down to the wire, like ending in a fumble, not like that, but like something.
Yeah, no, it's This is a big one. Last question. We'll get to the comment. We got one comment, and then we'll get out of here. So this game. So I don't laugh at me, Candy. I've injected hopium into my veins because it after that Dallas loss, it got dark. And it felt like the season was over at 3-5.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
3-4. Excuse me. It was over at 3-4.
Was I on the show? Because I think I made a comment like, "Hey, look, like the world ain't coming to an end, but if they lose to Dallas,
yes, you said that.
Everyone is free to unravel."
Yes, you said that last time we spoke, and that happened. And it wasn't because we lost to Dallas. It was because in the manner in which we lost, but more importantly, Jaden had gotten hurt again. And it felt like he was going to be out for a significant amount of time. We didn't know the severity of the injury. And so it just the confluence of Jaden getting hurt, getting your doors blown off in that manner, the defense just looking like an absolute mess. And then, not having any healthy receivers. It just everything felt bad.
Yep.
And I had to inject some hopium because I was losing hope, right? And so injecting that hopium, it gave me a bunch of guidelines of how this team's season could survive and then potentially thrive, right? Right now we're in full survival mode, right? We're just trying to survive this drought that we're on right now and somehow make it through to the other side. And the thing that I said they had to do, and this was going into last week's game, knew that we weren't going to beat Kansas City, but I said, over the next 3 weeks, you have to win one game. That is it, right? You're not going to beat Kansas City, and Detroit might be the ugliest game of the season because I saw what they did to Dallas last year when they were looking for revenge. It's not pretty. I saw what they did to Chicago with Ben Johnson when they put 50 up earlier this year. They have no mercy when they have a target on your back.
Yeah. Yep.
That could be worse than the Dallas game next week if we're not careful and if we're not healthy. So I don't even want to think about that game. I'm solely focused on Seattle because I said of the three evils, Kansas City, Seattle, Detroit, Seattle is the lesser of the three evils, right? They're still a really good team though. As we've already talked about. This isn't code red, but it's as orange as you can get before it turns red because you really, really, really need to win this game. In my scenario that I've come up with, if you win 1 out of 3, that'll get you to 4-6 going to Madrid to take on the Dolphins. You got to beat the Dolphins. I mean, if you can't beat the Dolphins, I don't care if we played that game on the moon. If you can't beat the Dolphins, even if Marcus was at quarterback, you can't beat the Dolphins, pack up the season. Pack it up, right? And I know what they just went and did to Atlanta. No Penix Jr., no Drake London. It went their way, great. They still stink. If you can't beat Miami, you got to pack up the season. So you should be able to go there, get to 5-6 going into your bye. And I said, if you get to 4-6, which is winning 1 out of your next 3, you have to win the next 4, right? So that would be Miami, come off the bye, beat Denver, right? That's going to be a winnable game. As good as Denver is, the Giants had those guys dead to rights. You can beat Denver. Right?
And Surtain is.
Yeah, he'll be ready. Like, that's our luck, though. He'll be ready for our game. That's why they didn't put him on IR because they expect him to miss 3 games. Then the bye week, just like we have, and then they come off the bye. He'll have a month basically to come back, and he'll be ready for us, like always, right? Everybody gets their best players back when they see us. Of course, we won't get the benefit of that doubt. But you beat them, then you have the Vikings. They're not a great team this season, right? And Carson Wentz out for the year. Now JJ McCarthy, right? That's a winnable game is essentially what I'm getting to. And then you got the Giants. Who knows what they'll be by the time we see them. They are much improved, but that's a winnable football game. So if you can just get to 4-6 going into that Dolphins game, you could win your next 4. Again, one at a time, right? This is just how I injected the hopium, and this is what it spit out. That'll get you to 8-6 with 3 left, 2 against Philadelphia, 1 against Dallas, and there's your chance to make the playoffs. You're still in the hunt. You still got a chance. I think Philadelphia is about to start losing some games, right? I know they look good. They're 6-2. Feels like they're going to win this division easy. Their schedule really heats up after their bye. They got Philadelphia. They got Green Bay on Monday Night Football in Green Bay, and I think it just gets from that point. It just gets harder and harder for them, and I think they're going to struggle. And I think there's going to still be an outside shot that we can win the division when we see Philadelphia twice.
Yeah. I have found myself, and this is actually something that I don't do. I watch other teams play, and of course I watch the division and I watch, the schedule.
Yeah.
But I found myself paying attention to the whole conference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, everybody lost.
Yeah.
Just about, like, what I mean? Just about, except for Green Bay, they beat the Steelers. I'm like, now I'm looking. Now I'm like, oh.
Yeah, Atlanta lost to Miami. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Like, okay. All right.
I'm just telling you, there's a path, Candi.
I mean,
if they can find a way to win one out of these next two games.
And I want to say this team is not giving up. I mean, I went back to the transcript to be clear on what Coach Quinn said to Natalie's question at the end. He was talking about the goal, and she asked about the identity, right? Because I mean, what is it at this point, right? But his last comment back to her was, there is no more time to not do that. So he's talking about right. So that's what. So hey, look, if we all don't see all three phases on Sunday night, there's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, got to have it.
That I can guarantee, because I'm watching Coach Quinn. I'm listening to Coach Quinn. I've seen each week where he's showing a little bit more of. And he's letting go a little bit, like when right after on Monday when Kyle was like, was it a miscommunication?
Nope. He hit him with a Jaden. He didn't even let him finish. He was like, nope, I'm not letting that slide. That wasn't no miscommunication. Somebody didn't do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like, we're not even going down that road.
He started naming positions and nicknames.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, Coach Quinn doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that. But he hasn't had to yet either.
Yeah.
So that's why it wasn't like, he's throwing people under the bus. No, he's sick of this ish.
Yeah. Right.
He's sick of this. And now he's like, this is no.
Yeah.
This is what happened. And then today, I'm like, I felt like he gave an honest answer to my question.
Yeah, he did.
I'm like, well, I guess I can just go back and see who did this. You know what I mean? Like,
he definitely did. He said tackling, and we got to pass things off better. When you asked him about the two, asked him what are the things that were responsible for the big plays on tape, he said tackling.
Yep.
And we gotta pass things off better. You know what I mean?
They definitely didn't do that good on Monday. Whoa, that was real. That sucked. In the second half, I was like, like I was like, I know it's so different being on the field and in the moment, and it's so much faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and he talked about the extension of the play. Like, for instance, Bobby on that touchdown, all he'd do was keep running with Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
He would have nowhere to go with the football on that fourth down. Just keep. Why did you just stop, Bobby? Why?
Like,
you had somebody attacking Patrick Mahomes to force him to make a decision, and you just turned him loose to nobody.
Yeah, I was like, you're not gonna get. By the time, one thing I've noticed about Patrick Mahomes. By the time he believes he has lured you in and you think you're going to get him, he's going to get rid of the foot. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You left your assignment to go and get him. It's almost like he does it on purpose.
Of course he does. And that's why I said that's the evolution of Jaden, when he'll get to the point where I don't have to run. I can threaten the line of scrimmage. It's going to draw you in because you fear my legs, and now somebody's going to come open.
Running, and I got a guy standing right there. I think it was who was it? It was a Chiefs player. Was it Rashee Rice? I don't even know now. But even he said they have plays called, and they said even Patrick himself is just unpredictable.
Yeah.
He's just unpredictable. So you just almost you know the play call, whatever, but it's like almost like you gotta just be ready.
Yeah.
And as we saw them doing all the time, like he's just luring people in, and they're just falling for it every time. And he gets them. And but I'm just not running. It's like, oh, you thought, what'd you think? Like, okay, all right. oh, like it's again not a solid 45 minutes is what I'm giving. I'm giving what
the defense
got to do.
Yeah.
I don't.
So you basically 3/4 is what you're giving them. So
Hey, last year,
offense, you got to find a way to keep them off the field for that
yes,
1/4 of the
that's
game,
right.
essentially.
Last year, Thursday Night Football, they gave 53 strong minutes. That's the longest I've seen them hold up. Last year,
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football against
the Eagles. Yeah.
53 minutes. 53. They played out of their minds that night, and the offense couldn't score because Jaden was still hurt.
Yep.
So that's what happened. But that's it. That's all they got. I'm not even giving them 53, 45. And
you good for that? Because I ain't seen nothing that would tell me that they can give me 45.
That is because I like a whole lot of people on that side of the football.
Yeah.
40 is my, I'm being real.
You are, you grading on the curve because
I said 30.
Yeah, 30 was Monday. 30 was Monday.
Was it? And during halftime,
and technically, if we being honest, like they never stopped the Chiefs, right?
No,
they never produced a punt. They just forced 2 turnovers.
That's it.
They moved the ball every time. Those turnovers weren't deep in Chiefs territory where we got great field position. They were driving the ball all of those times. You know what I mean? Like the defense was giving up plays. It's just that they were able to get stops with turnovers.
Like,
those count too.
I was like, this is the best. And then when the defense stopped the Chiefs from scoring before the half.
I was like, oh, wait a minute.
I was impressed. I was like, look.
Me too.
And cut and curtain closed. That's it.
Right. That's
because
it.
When they get back out there, it's not gonna go well.
And they still had a chance until Quan decided he wanted to.
That was it.
That was the turning point.
I think that was the deflating because they were getting off the field. Quan, what are you doing? And that's what I was like, and there it is. It was like that undisciplined moment. It gets them, and they just don't know how to bounce back off of it. Yeah. That's what happened. They were still in the fight, and that happens. Now you're on the field longer. Because to me, it's almost a display of frustration when you had no real reason to be frustrated at that moment. Right. The play had already taken care of itself, but you got whatever in the way, and there here you go. And then after that, I felt like they proceeded to pick on Quan. To talk about people picking on Marshawn, I felt like they were proceeding to pick on him because now you done got in your head because that was unnecessary.
It was.
Completely unnecessary. So now we're gonna keep picking on you because you've shown undisciplined character in this moment. So now you're an easy target. Now it's gonna be kind of easy. So it was. I'm not saying they would have won, but it could have gone a lot better. But the offense has to score. The 7 points, it's not going to get it. 21 isn't going to get it for this game. 28 may not get it for this game. They're going to have to get back in the 40 plus territory. They have to get back in 35 plus territory for sure. And understanding that Coach Quinn put that defensive coordinator hat on and get to work. I mean, you can still give your input and your advice, but this is going to have to be directive. And understanding, he told us today, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to live on the edge. But it's like, okay, all right, but don't do it in a desperation mode.
Right.
Smart. Be creative because you're going to, now isn't the time to be like, you're not going to hear me say a lot of run the football. That's why I'll let it go at some point, you all, that they didn't run the football more these last 3 weeks. Because that was 3 whole weeks that they should have been running the football and they did not. But because I knew this day was coming. This day was coming. And I'm like, well, you're not going to be really using them too much come week 9. So they'll get a lot of work in. But the creativity is really going. Now you got to let loose in your creativity, but some of that you're going to have to get from number 5.
That's right. I mean, you said it earlier. He got the juice. He got the juice, man.
Come from number 5. Number 5 is going to have to be like, look, this is what I'm saying. Marcus, get on the headset. Tell the people what you're seeing on the side. Help them out. Because that's what he's done before as well. That goes back to my questions around collaborative decision making. Who's telling who to do what and who's listening to who? Or is everybody just sitting around? Just whatever's best for the situation and go. Because that was something else I know they were doing last year. It didn't matter who called it. It works. Go with it.
Right.
I mean, Cliff has kind of told it sometimes, right? I get cussed out all the time. I get cussed out all the time.
Right.
Somebody better start cussing over there. Everybody right.
And look, we need LA Jaden, LA Debo, and LA Bill. We need all them dudes to
Boom
show up.
Squad. And I mean,
Yeah.
as much people don't, the way he directs the movie, people don't like how he moved because they say he old and Bobby Wagner, but in the way he directs the movie, he gonna have to direct the movie like Steven Spielberg. He really is. He gonna have to direct this show. When you see something, you need to be like the Metro and say something. When you see something, say something and let this thing fly.
They
Because
gotta come after Donald too. They can't stand back there
they
and
were
get him
letting
all
it
day.
rip in LA, and I haven't even seen that juice yet. Well, the other night for 30 minutes.
Yeah. They got to bring it, man, because Seattle is like that, man. They are really truly like that.
That was one of the games that I didn't have this as a sleeper game. I had the Broncos as the sleeper
I remember
game.
you said that was one of your favorite games.
Broncos, yep, I had that circle. But you know, these they're losing the revenge tours. You
Oh
know,
my God, we are getting crushed in the
we're
revenge tours this year.
crushing the revenge tours.
That's why I'm scared of the game next week, which is why we got to get this one this week.
They're
I
losing
know.
and convincingly, which isn't good.
Yeah.
So, I just, and for a moment there Monday night, I said, because Dallas, to your point of the Dallas game, this is me being transparent again.
Mm-hmm.
After Jaden got hurt, and I'm not sure what happened, I got up. From my press box seat. I have not had to do. I did it the Hail Mary game. I said, "Oh, here I go. Let me go walk this off." Just go.
You saw where it was going.
Yeah, this is the end of this. And then I think I stood up in the press box on one like the higher levels. And then, once, when Marcus threw the pick, because I saw that coming. I saw the light, the sun started coming in through the roof. And I said, oh no, he thinks J-Mac is open and he's not. And and he threw it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, that happened in slow motion in like
everywhere.
real time. Oh my God.
Like, oh.
I was like, oh my God, this is getting picked for a touchdown.
And then I just said, I'm gonna go get a snack. Like I just did.
I think you were I went and got a spaghetti dinner after that. So you went and got a snack. I went and got a spaghetti dinner.
We all decided, okay,
this
I'm gonna go drink a Mountain Dew. I've been doing good with my calorie count, but I'm gonna go drink this Mountain Dew over here.
I think we all did that at that point.
This red velvet cookie because this ain't that was the end of that for me. I didn't know because after that I had a list of questions, but it was only one I was going to ask.
Yeah.
And it was the one that nobody else had asked at that moment. And so I asked it because that was it. That I just was like, I don't know how he's dealing with this because I would be losing my mind.
Right.
So, yeah.
So we are going to get to the comment section. Before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to Chubby's once again for sponsoring this stream. Again, Chubby's is the sponsor for our victory days this season. Unfortunately, we haven't had nearly enough of them. So I'm here on a random Wednesday, impeding on Candy's time on CWall Wednesdays, having to push Chubbies because we can't carve out space to win a game so we can push this beautiful Chubbies NFL polo. These are so comfortable. They've sent me shorts. Those are awesome. You've seen the shorts. I've shown you those before. They're the most stretchable, breathable shorts that I've ever had. Couple that with this shirt that is just excellent on the skin. I love the material. It is very breathable. They have so many different items to choose from. Head over to chubbysshorts.com. Promo code LouieT to get you 20% off here. Limited time only. That's chubbysshorts.com. Use the promo code LouieT to get you 20% off on your purchase. You won't be sorry. Again, this is the tea of winners. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen to be us at the moment, but we're going to be back. I've injected hopium, y'all. We are not done yet. They tried to end us before Halloween. I wouldn't allow it, but we got to win this week, man. And so let's get to the comment section before we get out of here. And this one is from Mr. CB1274. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, In my opinion, the offensive scheme changes too much based on who's available to play. The scheme shouldn't change. The backups need to be drilled on that. And I do think that you do have to alter your game plan based on who is available. So case in point, I'll give you an example here, Mr. CB 1274. If Debo's not out there, did you see any motion? Any of the pre-snap against Dallas when Debo wasn't out there? Did you see anybody racing across the formation pre-snap, coming back across, ghost motion, then pivoting and going back out? You didn't see any of that. Why? Because that is a Debo Samuel staple. That is what they have him do, right? He is a guy that you have to figure out where he's going to be. And if he goes across the motion, the defense bumps this way. And if he comes back across, they bump back the other way. And they'll swing it out to him. Like they'll do all of that. And then he'll just go into the flats. And if they that sometimes he is the primary read on that play. And they'll dump it out to him and it's a form of a screen. Sometimes it's just eye candy, right? But that is specific to Debo Samuel. They're not doing that with Jalen Lane, right? They're not doing that with Luke McCaffrey. And so there's certain aspects of the offense that are altered because this guy is adept at doing this versus someone else. Another thing is being able to go deep and take vertical shots. Like Jalen Lane can run. How many vertical shots have we seen him, catch other than the double move? And he needed a double move to get open against Chicago. It was a great double move. And it was a good throw, and he made a great catch, and that's all great. But he's supposed to be this 4-3 guy, right? He's, almost a 4-2 guy. So he should be able to get vertical. We just haven't seen him take the top off the defense this season. Why is that? I don't know. But when Terry's out there, they'll take the shot immediately. And you saw what Terry did against the Raiders. We saw Terry get vertical. We saw Terry get vertical again in this game against the Chiefs. Like, when he's out there, it changes how defenses can play you, and you're more aggressive to take those vertical shots. You're not taking a vertical shot with Robbie Chosen or Luke McCaffrey. Even though Luke had the deep post against the Chargers, it does alter what you can and can't call. But I think where the most inconsistency lies so far is the run game. Is it me, Candi, or are we not pulling the offensive linemen like we were with those counters and things of that nature earlier in the season when it felt like we were getting our linemen, which I think is our strong suit with this line, is their athleticism and their ability to get out in space. Are we not doing that as much anymore?
No.
Seems like it's a lot of duo, a lot of gap scheme. That's not who we are.
No, but that's just the thing. Much of the identity they've gotten away from. The things that they're known for. Even those things, like that small detail, I guarantee you, there's others that probably don't realize that. That's something that they do that worked. And you don't see them doing it anymore.
I don't. I'm flabbergasted as to why everything is pistol, little duo handoff, little double teams up front, or a gap scheme up front. And it's like, or zone read. And I'm like, we weren't doing that when we were having success, when we were rushing for 200 yards in games.
That's right.
We're getting tackle guard pulls, right? Yep. Tackle guard leads and, GT powers. And I'm like, what happened to that?
Yeah, they're not doing it. And yeah. And it's bizarre. It became so to that point, because that is a conversation we were having just last week. And it became well, do you think it's because people are watching the tape and you feel like, oh, they figured it out? But it's not like you have a better idea. It's not what you're doing is better.
Candi, they hadn't stopped it though. That was the thing. Like, I get it.
Exactly. Like,
they hadn't stopped it though. It was working.
And it goes exactly back to what I was saying earlier. You do it and you make somebody stop you. That's like saying that the Eagles going to stop doing a tush push.
Right.
No, they're not. If it's still working,
right.
Keep doing it. It's just you do it until it's not working, literally.
Right.
Do it until it's not working.
I don't understand the logic.
It's your job to stop it. Don't just go away from it. Because you think, oh, well, they figured it out, or we've done it too much. I got to go do something else. No, you don't, because it's working just fine.
Just fine. Just fine.
It's much of what they're doing. I mean, if for what it's worth, even like the fourth down stuff, okay, now you're doing it because it's Monday Night Football and you've been tired of us asking you about it and all that. This was who you were. You started that last year, week 3.
Right.
But again, you started that because 5 said, no, I'm going for it. Okay, all right, don't let him have a tantrum over there. Please just do whatever the man says. And he got it. And now it becomes a thing, but he made you do it. Let's just get a buck. And that's what I've been, you've heard me say that so many times on your show. He's the reason why they started doing those fourth downs.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get off the field.
Yeah.
And he felt like he could do it.
And he did. Yeah.
And he did. But now you've gone away from it. All of the things. It might be like super simplistic, but it's like you just made an excellent point because I've not heard anyone else mention that. And I'm like, yeah, why they not we talked about it like internally. Mm-hmm. It was like, it's so bizarre. Why would they do it? It was working. Nobody stopped it.
Right.
You just stopped doing it.
Yeah. And I know that like that was something I haven't watched. Normally I watch film. I watch the all 22s after every game and go through it with the mob. And I haven't done that in like 3 weeks. But just watching the game live and playing it back in my mind, I'm seeing less and less of the guard tackle powers and leads and pulls and getting those guys out in space. Again, that is the strength. This is not a mauling offensive line. We're not going to line up and recreate a new line of scrimmage. No. That's not who we are. You know what I'm saying? So our strength is we get out in space, right? And we get behind those linemen and you create that space for guys to be able to go and make plays. And it was working. It was wildly successful.
In LA, it was beautiful. It worked beautifully in LA. I was so impressed. I remember being like, oh my gosh, this is nice. I would see it in training camp. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I'm at a loss. So before we get out of here, like, what happens on Sunday night?
Just please. I mean, it's so unfortunate that Terry isn't playing on Art Muck night.
It is. I agree.
But JD, I don't even like saying this out loud, but this is me being very objective and just telling it like I believe that it is. And one key thing, JD5 got to be JD5.
Yes.
The Magic's got to come back. He's got to get into, he just got to get into it. And I know that he's dealt with some injuries this year, but that energy transcends. So whoever has the juice, whoever has the glow, they gotta get back into the glow, and they have to do what they know works. Mm-hmm. This isn't the time to be like, oh, I mean, unless you know it works and you've done it in practice, you know what I mean? And you know that it works. But get back to just all of the things that help to create their identity. Where's the anywhere, anytime, and anybody, anywhere, anytime? Where are those people?
Yeah.
Where's the ball is life people?
I love that. I love that from you, Candi, because I've been saying the same thing about the anytime, anywhere, anybody, anytime, anywhere. Yeah. We haven't heard that at all this year.
Ain't nobody even saying it. They're saying the ball is life. It's almost like they've taken a step back where they have to get back into like the serious fundamentals of spending a lot of time in tackling.
Yeah.
And protecting the football. But even that still goes back to the ball is life. That still goes back to your mantras.
Yeah. Well, we know why they don't say ball is life. We know why they don't say that. Well, yeah. If the ball is life, we dead.
Yeah.
We've been dead.
Right. I mean, yeah. And it's just like, good Lord. Like, this, I mean, where the chance? Where's all the stuff that you were doing before?
Right.
Because I'm not seeing the social team capture it. So I don't know if you're doing it right now.
Right.
So it's get back to it. When you were fearless, when you did believe you could beat anybody, where you did. And I mean, you really do have to block out the outside noise. But here's a funny thing. Like they kind of don't. They kind of don't. They discover that. Some people, they are paying attention to stuff that's being said. And I had a conversation today like, what? I thought you told me not to read it. How you read? You been reading that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course they are.
You know what I mean? Like, what? And so it's that's part of their identity, though. So if you're not saying it anymore, you're not doing. That's like as simple as if I stop saying use your clues. It's like, well, what are you doing there, Candy? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're not using my clues anymore. It's really that simple and that literal. That it's like they're just not. And I don't know if it's too hands off or if people have just gotten complacent. But in year 2, you can't be complacent now.
No, I don't think that's what it is. I just literally think losing and the injuries, right? Those two things coupled together, like one of the things we don't as fans realize, I think you guys realize this as media members so much more than we do. I always take this stuff into consideration, but most fans don't, is the vibe in the locker room with these players. You spend all summer with these guys. You spend more time with them than you do your own family in most instances once you come for training camp. And then just like that, Dietrich Wise is gone for the season. He's not around anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like that, Austin Eckler is gone for the season. He's not around anymore. Just like that, Will Harris is gone and he's not around, right? These guys are rehabbing, they're getting surgery. They're not around the team anymore. And that breaks up the cohesion, and it breaks up the brotherhood, if you will, the bond that has been established over the summertime. And you get enough of that. You keep getting beat up by these injuries, and you keep losing guys. You start to lose team morale. There's only so many Jeremy Reeves that's gonna keep giving you energy, right? There's only so many of those times where you can keep going to that well before, and that's why you got to win and keep everybody's spirits up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Damn, we lost Dietrich, but we won the game though. All right. We gotta keep it going. You lose Dietrich and you lose the game. You lose this person and you lose the game. It just keeps wearing on you. So I think that's what I see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different vibe. Last year this time they were 6-2. Right now they're 3-5, and the vibe is definitely different.
Yeah, and that again, winning cures all.
And as much as they didn't they didn't really harp on our Hail Mary game. I guess it's been a year since that, right? So they didn't really harp on it too much longer. By Wednesday, they were over it. Yeah. They were on to, what was the next game? The Giants. They were on to the division game. They really were. But it was different. And to your point, which is an excellent one, everybody was in there.
Yeah. Right? Like you said, you started off the show by saying this time last year, the only injury that we really had was Jonathan Allen.
And I'm gonna stop talking about people in their injuries, because much like it, I remember that injury, and I remember literally seeing Jonathan Allen, talking to him in the hallway after the Baltimore Ravens game, and then he stopped to talk to Brandon Coleman, because Brandon Coleman was upset after that game. He was very disappointed, and he was like, "Oh, let me talk to BC," and he went on, and I'm thinking he wasn't gonna be out that long. I said, well, he don't look like he had no pain to me, like he's doing just fine. And I said it, and then he was like, oh, he's going on IR. What are you talking about? Right. And I said a similar thing about Terry after the game. I've already done said, hey, I saw Terry. Yes, well, and let me be clear, I didn't know what was seen on the TV.
Yeah.
I saw him. I think JP got a
clip. I knew. Because the TV copy it showed you.
But I saw him run up the ramp.
Yeah.
And then he spoke to the media in the locker room right after the game, and he said he felt okay. But one thing I've learned is it's different. If it don't go downhill in the moment, that next morning,
that's what I said.
Overnight, once you get home,
you can't go off of what you see unless it's like, I know you're talking about the Green Bay game and Jaden have a noticeable limp after that game, right? And that's when people can tell like a guy's really banged up or whatever. But you can't go off of, oh, he didn't have a walk-in boot. He was walking fine, because the adrenaline is still flowing. The blood hasn't had a chance to settle. The swelling hasn't set in. None of that matters. So when people tell me, oh my God, he looked fine. Like I know I didn't, shout out to B Mitch, but I saw him talking to JP Finley on their radio program saying like, I think Terry just was a little startled. Like, I think he's fine. I saw him after the game, and I saw him jogging around, and he jogged back to the locker room, and he looks fine to me. And I'm like, that ain't. I'm telling you, he hurt, bro.
You talking about Monday night?
Yeah, Monday night.
We were all together. So yes, so where he and Santana, B mentioned Santana and the other BC, Brian Colbert, where they were going to do the show. Terry ran right past me because I went out there. I was standing, where they go in for the locker room, and it could have been because he saw certain people that it triggered in his mind. Let me just be okay. And because there were people yelling at them, not vulgarities, but some people were throwing up their gloves or whatever the case may be. He did jog off the field. I think JP got a clip of it. But once they got into the hallway, because I was in the ramp in the hallway, he ran up. He was running. He ran up. Saw him in the locker room. He did a whole media scrum. But hey, but then like a few Fridays ago, Debo did a whole media scrum and he didn't play. He didn't even travel. So to your point, yeah, and I'm, again with the past teams, they get hurt all the time, and they, you don't see them. They're not visible, right? Yeah, and I said maybe again overnight, the flight home overnight.
And I could tell, like I said, of the 3 guys that got hurt, Javon Kinlaw's gonna be fine. All right.
Yes,
like he's gonna be fine. He put a harness on it. He wanted to go back in the game, and they had to tell him, "Hey, bro, it's over." He was standing right by like if you watch the TV copy, he's standing right by DQ, like he's itching to get in the game. And DQ was like, "Bro, no, we're down 28-7. The game's over. You're not going back out there, right?" And that's the right call. And so I was like, he was a full participant today, and I get it. Today probably was more like a little, semi walkthrough or whatever, but he's going to be fine. I said of the 3, I'm not concerned about him at all, because you could just put a harness, even if it's sore, you can put a harness on it, put a wrap on it, and he can go out there and still perform. Laramie's hamstring going to keep him out. Best case scenario is what they just had with Jaden, right? You miss 1 week and you come back the following week. That's the best case. He's not playing this week. All right. He is not playing this week. And then Terry, I was like, I'm praying.
I did see Laramie today, but yeah.
Yeah, he did. I mean, how did he look? I mean, I don't think that matters because it's soft tissue. So it don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, we could sit here and be like, "Oh, he was walking fine."
Like I just said, I've been talking to people, and I'd be like, "Oh, he all right." I just said he ran right past me. I was like, he talked to the media. He did his full media scrum. It wasn't like he was in there with the trainer. It was no.
Yeah. So you don't know. Quick question before we get out of here too.
Could have been trying to hold it together. I don't know.
Have you seen anything from Treylon Burks or Drake Jackson, the guys that they've signed that are young that may have a chance to stick around? Have you seen anything from them, like the early portion of practice where y'all out there? I know Drake Jackson's on that side field. What has he been doing?
He's just been rehabbing. I have not seen much from Drake Jackson. I did have an opportunity to talk to him though last week. That was my first time like really talking to him. Yeah. Kind of like how I joked earlier about Treylon Burks. Yes, I've had an opportunity to talk to him. I've seen him on some returns. I'll say that here. I've seen him on some returns, and I've seen him in the wide receiver group today. With his jersey and everything. Because sometimes he wears no contact black.
Yeah.
But he's not been wearing that recently.
Okay.
And he did travel with the team. So I guess
to Kansas City he did?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He traveled with the team. I did not see Drake today.
Okay.
But I've definitely seen him around and had a formal conversation with him last week.
If you don't mind me asking, what were your first impressions of those conversations you had with both of those players?
They are commanders. I could totally see why, from a personality character perspective. Even when I've seen Trey working with the team, and even today, he is folded right on in. Drake, I have not seen him as much with the team.
Right.
like in team activities, if that makes sense. So
right.
But I'm sure, I mean, but in his personality and just talking to him, I'm like, yeah, he's a commander.
Okay.
Because they I make this, they got a type.
Yeah,
so,
of course they do.
They got a type.
Of course they do.
Type. So everybody's very, even when they don't feel like talking, they talk, if that makes sense. Right. So they got a type. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So you just see from a talent perspective, but Drake is super cool. Trey, I am anxious to see the more, what happens with him, but both of them very, very happy to be Washington Commanders. Very, very happy. And so far, I think it's great. I don't know when they go start like contributing. Now would be a nice time to play Trey if he can play.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice time to bring him up.
Yeah, I'm still in my mind like I don't see it happening anytime soon, but we'll see.
I mean, I don't even know. And somebody, I don't know. I can find out. You know me, I can find out.
We'll put Candy on the case.
Yeah, put me on the case. I'm already on the case, but like now I'm like Terry out again. Okay, all right, Trey.
Okay, somebody June TV just asked Noah. Is he even around the team?
Noah Brown?
Yes, Noah Brown.
We haven't seen him, which is a little different, right? Because even when he was injured before, he would still be around.
Yeah.
We have not seen him since they placed him on IR.
Okay. He's one of those guys that I'm hoping that's back after the bye, along with Terry. Like
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, we're treating him like he doesn't exist anymore because he's just never around. So you don't want to rely on guys that aren't on the field, but it'd be nice to get him and Terry back after the bye week.
Are they talking about Noah? They talking about
Noah Brown? Yeah, Noah Igbenogany. Now he was inactive against the Chiefs, a healthy scratch. That was surprising. Maybe it shouldn't have been, but I just didn't see that coming. That he would be a healthy scratch. I don't. Again, they must like the depth that Jonathan Jones provides and feel like, oh, we're good. We don't need Noah Igbenogany up this week. So.
Another corner whose name you haven't heard. It's probably a good thing when he's out there. I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm saying it in a positive.
Yeah. You talking about Jonathan Jones?
Yes, Jonathan Jones.
Yeah, for sure.
Noah, back during the summer, there was a rumor going around that he was being shopped. So
right before the season started. Yeah, for teams that needed some depth. That's not normally what you see at the trade deadline. Like that's a before the season type of trade. Like if I'm trading something at the deadline, it's because I think I have a shot to do something, or this player has a future with my team, right?
Yeah.
You're not trading for a third or fourth corner at the trade deadline. That's not usually what happens. So
yeah, I don't know.
I don't anticipate this team. Matter of fact,
I didn't think so. But
the next time we speak, we would have had the deadline would have gone. So
when are we on again? Because
next Wednesday. So
next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, back to back. Oh, because I'll be in Spain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not Spain. It's not Spain next week. Next week is Detroit. You'll be home still.
No, but I come back on here.
After that, I don't know. Yeah. After that one,
okay.
Next week is you're on next week. So that's the Detroit week.
The 19th. Oh no, I think I'm back. Isn't that Thanksgiving? I haven't on.
Yeah, it's the day before Thanksgiving. It might be that.
I mean, I might be. Listen, Louie, I might be cooking, Louie, but I'm I might.
Hey, if we got to reschedule that when we can, because I cook on that. I cook too. So
it depends. We got to see what's up. We don't know what's going on.
We'll figure it out. But I wanted to ask you. You don't expect the Commanders to be involved in the?
I don't, but that doesn't mean they won't. I mean, I knew last year that they were looking for a corner.
Right. But that the last year's circumstance, we were a good team and they thought, hey, this guy could help potentially put us over the top. Like we're not like, and we like there's
at some point toward the end of last year, but he was hurt.
He was hurt. He was hurt a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, when we traded for him, he was hurt.
for him, he was hurt, but I think he came back. Yes, he came back after the bye against the Saints.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just keep my eyes on this because I don't know what they're gonna do. I think it's an unpredictable. I don't see because what do you have?
Right. They don't have anything that anybody would want, is my point. You know, they don't have any real tradable assets.
Nope.
So it just doesn't feel like we'll be
in a position to trade away picks, right?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You can't. No, you have to be in the pick collecting phase.
In the pick collecting. So I don't know what's happening. I don't think so, but you never know at the end of the day. Last year I knew they were in the mix, but this year, it just feels like, you know, they put a lot of their chips in what they have. Yeah. So I will say, yes, at the post, you know, Dietrich was in Dallas. Dietrich is, I mean, he's not coming back this season. You know, he's injured.
Right. Yeah, because I seen him hug Tom Brady. That's right.
Yeah, so he's been around. He kind of rolled up on me today. I was like, where'd you even come from?
Yeah. Now, how you miss him? That's a big man. Like, how did you miss him?
I was trying to figure it out. He was like, you were in a zone. You were just talking. You were doing your thing. And I was like, oh, hey. Hey. Will Harris has been around. He's been rehabbing at the facility.
Yeah, he's not like that's the one that I'm still like murky on. He can come back, right? Or is he done for the season?
He can come back.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. I'm not counting him out as a guy. Like, that's why you have to find a way to get to 5 and 6, the bye week, all that good stuff, because you just never know. Like, I remember last year never thinking that Jonathan Allen would be able to return after his season's done. He tore his pec, his season's done.
Right.
And then he came back like the second to last week of the season. And I'm like, didn't see that coming. So you just you have to stay alive so that some of these guys may be able to return.
They got to stay in the fight. They got to stay in the fight. This is, I know it's a lot of, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's just, they got to stay in the fight because even from what we've all watched and seen, they could have done better. And and again, I'm not saying that those games would have turned into W's for the Commanders, but what I can say is that was poor play. That was poor execution and sometimes not adequate, you know, play calling either for the moment and for the situation, in my opinion. And it wasn't like these guys are playing perfect games and great games. I believe they can just be who we know them to be. And they all have it as a collective been that. So it's hard to be like they stink or they suck because it's like we've seen these people though. Yeah. So what's going on here? Right. We've seen better in all facets. So why that's not showing up on game day, I don't know. But I feel like Dan Quinn has been direct in this last week. I feel like his messaging has been direct.
Yes. I thought his messaging last week was excellent. I thought he was spectacular last week. Like he's the kind of guy that can get you through this type of, you know, these doldrums, this dark period. He's the kind of guy that can see you through and get you to the other side, still alive. But they gotta respond, right? And I saw it like because I knew we were gonna lose to the Chiefs. I told the fan base the two things I was looking for that were gonna be tested on Monday night: the brotherhood and proof of life. Right? He taught brotherhood all week. He talked about this is when it gets tested. This is when you find out how strong the brotherhood is. And then I needed to see proof of life because the Cowboys game was the first time that I saw a lifeless team. They quit in that game. And we haven't seen that. Last year we didn't see that.
No.
And the only time we got blown out last year was the NFC Championship game. We lost in week 1 in Tampa. That was a different type of loss. And there were a lot of reasons why that happened. The NFC Championship game, you chalked it up to all the turnovers and all of that stuff. But that was the first time, that Dallas game, where we just looked like we quit. We let the rope go, right? We were pulling, and then Jaden got hurt, and then just let the rope go, right? And that one got out of control. It felt like 2023 Thanksgiving versus Dallas. I never want to feel that way again. Okay?
Yeah.
And so I needed to see that because the Chiefs have the capability to do exactly what Dallas did to us. I need to see fight. And I need to see the brotherhood. And in that first half, they showed me They're willing to fight for DQ. They're not out of this thing. But they got to find a way to put it together for 4 quarters and actually win the game. Like, there are no moral victories. So,
no.
At the end of the day, this is a big one coming up in week 9. Can't thank you enough for joining us again on CWall Wednesdays. As always, tell the people where they can find all of your work. I've got just about every single link that will lead you back to Candi and her work down in the description of this video and every CWall Wednesday video. But please tell the people where they can find all of your work.
And thank you for having me. I do enjoy the opportunity to talk to you and, you know, the fan base. And I try to keep plugged in to the fan base as much as I possibly can. Because trust me, I want to say this. Everybody is like what the WTF right now. Like, it's not everybody is like WTF.
Yeah.
Now, everybody is responding to it is a little different, right? Everybody is definitely like WTF. Not saying they should be undefeated, but 500 definitely isn't too much to ask. It definitely is something that I think is even a low bar for what they themselves expect of themselves. So it is quite fair to be completely disappointed in what you're watching, because this isn't what the standard is at all. So let me just say that, like, it's not, I mean, yes, everybody be outlandish and lose it a little bit, but trust me, it's bad. It's not bad. You know, we need to see proof of life. There's life there.
There's life.
They care. Coach Quinn they care a lot. They do. You feel it, but I'll just keep y'all posted on what I can. And you can follow me on X at CWall SE. Make sure you're subscribed to Bowie TV on YouTube and Bowie TV Sports across all platforms, or Bowie TV. It's either one. It goes back and forth, y'all. And if you're in Prince George's County, Maryland, and you have not cut your cable, we're on Comcast channels 190 and 1097. That is where you can find Bowie Television on those channels. And we're looking to expand to some other areas as well. Yay. So just stay locked in, everybody. Stay locked in. You typically hear me on press conferences, unless they run out of time because DQ's got to go, or you
didn't have a question that day.
Because
but she's there.
I am there. So trying to get all in the business, and you can if you follow me and you use your clues, you typically know where I'm hitting at. Some of these questions and where I'm going.
And I'll tell you something else too. You guys, I've always been a champion of Candi's work and Bowie TV and pushing her on this channel. She has the best post-game press conferences. It's better quality. It's like 20K. The sound quality is better than what you get with the team. You hear the questions. You hear the DQ clearly. I'm telling you right now, you don't have to sit through or sift through the post-game show if that's not. I'm like, I don't need any of that. I don't need to, like, and shout out to them. All right. They do a great job. I don't need any of that. I just want DQ, the quarterback, and I'm done. Right. And if there's other players, if we win, you might get 4 different dudes. You lose, it's the quarterback and the head coach, and that's it.
That's right.
Right. So I just need the essentials. She cuts out all the fluff. I don't need any of the other non-necessary calories. Just give me the stuff with nutritional value, and she does it on Bowie TV. So if you're not hip to the game, I just gave you a little game, dropped a little nugget, a gem on your melon. Go over to Bowie TV, sub it up, turn on those notifications so you know when after the game she uploads the post-game press conferences. So thank you so much.
I take feedback seriously, and I'm one of those people that look across the industry of what fans are getting and what they're not. And so we definitely for sure try to deliver on that. So thank you for acknowledging that. Really.
No, absolutely. That is a part of the, fan experience that we are starving, and you are definitely feeding the people. So thank you so much for that. But that is it for us on CWall Wednesday, another one in the books. And as always, Candi crushed it. Candi Crush yet again. Thank you so much for joining us. And we can't wait to do this again next week. You check your calendar to make sure I'm not tripping, but I got it in my calendar. I'm looking at it right now.
I remember saying, let's do it back to back because of Spain.
Yeah.
That's why. Yep.
So we will be back next week, hopefully in better spirits, talking about a win, heading into that big, rematch with Detroit. If not, it gets worse. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Candi. As always, we appreciate you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday on CWall Wednesdays. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. God bless, and good night. Peace.